Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shuffle Music Reviews and Retrospectives from a Gracelessly Aging Millennial. My name's Keaton, here today with a review of the new album from the Old Crow Medicine Show. The Old Crow Medicine Show is one of the most enduring alt country Americana acts of the 20th century, actually, having now released 10 studio albums since their self titled debut back in 2004. But they actually formed as buskers, basically, 6 years prior to that in 1998. Multi instrumentalist Ketch Secor is the founding member of the band, the only founding member still with the group, though bassist Morgan Janig joined in 2000 and remains to this day. So they are the core of the operation. The band's breakout hit Wagon Wheel features a chorus written by Bob Dylan back in 1973. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. You've probably all heard that song if you've been at a bar past 11 p.m. when a, country rock band was playing. Secor fleshed that out with excellent verse lyrics, and that song has become a staple of the cover band circuit ever since. A barroom sing-along hit, very common late-night fan request, especially after Darius Rucker covered the tune in 2013. It became even more popular, but I know a bunch of guys in cover bands back downstate who have grown to hate that song. That's how much they get asked to play it. But anyway, Old Crow Medicine Show was inducted into the Grand Olde Opry that same year, 2013. So this is a seriously good band, kind of underrated, if you ask me. I know why they're not as big as their resume suggests they might be, because they're essentially an acoustic band, basically a string band, whose lineup isn't so conducive to radio play. But they're no slouch band, not by a long shot. I think they're quite good. And while people are generally less familiar with Old Crow Medicine Show, they've been a prolific staple of the genre for 20 years now. And their latest, Union Made, is what we're talking about now. It's a theme album ringing in America's 250th anniversary, which of course we are celebrating, or at least we're supposed to be celebrating today. This features a lot of great guests, this album. Jesse Wells, the internet music sensation, great new songwriter, political songwriter. He sings on the opener, Howdy Do America. Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel joins on Lincoln Highway, which is kind of a plugged-in blues rocker about touring the country in a T-model Ford Jalopy. The McCoury brothers, Ronnie and Del McCoury, who are bluegrass masters, sit in on the album single, which is called My Side of the Mountain, about the resilience of Western North Carolina after the recent devastating hurricanes. You have Evan Felker from Turnpike Troubadours, who sings on Revolution Now, which ironically is more a call for moderation than revolution. Y'all All Come is the same kind of song, a sort of plea for unity between left and right, featuring John Carter Cash, who was Johnny's only son with June, and his wife, Anna Christina Cash. Now, Beautiful Land hits on those same themes as well, featuring Lee Oscar and Maggie Rose. All three of those songs are a little preachy and a little vague and vapid, a kind of boilerplate plea for us to all kind of get along. I think Beautiful Land is the best of those three, just because musically it's the most interesting. It's got some nice soul horn playing and some piano work there, kind of a departure from the usual sort of genre work of the band, which is, different for them. Because like I said, they are pretty much a string band at heart. But those songs are a mixed bag, I think. Where it tries to get kind of political, it just gets a little sappy and preachy and maybe a tad even cringe, I hate to say. But Molly Tuttle, who is Ketch Secor's wife, she's a very, very talented singer in her own right. She joins on a couple of these tunes as well, including The Last American Waltz, which is sort of a requiem for the America of old before we became so sort of at each other's throats. This works a lot better than Revolution Now and Y'all All Come, which, like I said, feel kind of schmaltzy and cheesy. This song kind of has the same message, but it's a little sadder. It's more mournful, feels more authentic, and Molly's vocals are terrific on that song. And the song itself, like I said, just much stronger than sort of the other politically charged songs on here. But the band themselves, they flex their own muscles in the midsection of the album, which I think is very strong, where they kind of forego the guest appearances and rip through a nice run of songs. Mary Mac and Monitor recalls the famous Civil War naval battle and invokes it as a stand in the struggle to preserve national unity. Lewis and Clark is a recollection of the frontier expedition. Rainbow Stew is a cool cover of the Merle Haggard song. And then you have Rye Whiskey, which is not to be confused with a cover of the Pete Seeger tune by the same name, but rather an upbeat, friendly, fiddle-driven stomper. The message of that song, that no matter your beliefs or ideology, you can all be friends and bond over the same rye whiskey and have yourselves a good time. It's more casual, less pretentious, less a preachy version of some of the other politically themed stuff on the record. The album ends with a straightforward cover of the classic Stephen Stills penned For What It's Worth. The album definitely has its ups and its downs from a writing standpoint. I do think the band sounds great, though. The production is clean and crisp, well done by the band's bassist, Morgan Janig. He produces the album. The playing is really good. They've become a great ensemble act, even through all the lineup changes. They've got the cachet now to not only bring in great build guests, as, the big guest artists, but also fill out their lineup with great studio players who kind of come and go throughout the years. So for this album, because their regular bassist was on producer duty, PJ George, who joined the band in 2023, took over the primary bass responsibility on the album. Joe Andrews, Chase McCoy, and Corey Younts, who's another longtime member who joined in 2009. They all play multiple instruments on here. So it really is this sort of hootenanny type vibe where you just grab an instrument and go play that they capture. And despite some missteps, I think they'd have been better off keeping Beautiful Land and scrapping the other two sort of unity ballads on here. So there are a couple songs on here I would probably nix. But overall, I think it's a pretty pleasant listen, and the playing is really good, and it sounds really good. The problem with the album is that it fails most and falls hardest where it reaches the highest. In other words, where it really attempts to pull on your heartstrings, the songs there just kind of fall short. But the band is a well enough oiled machine by now that when they're in their comfort zone doing what they do best, there are a few who do it better at this point. So I'm thinking this one is really at the midpoint between 3 and 3.5 stars. But I am going to go round up here and go 3.5 stars on this because I really do like the sound of the album. I think it's really fun to listen to at its high points. And there's just a couple tunes here that I could do without. But they're not terrible. And besides that, I think it's pretty solid. I don't think there are any skips beyond those two couple of songs there. Beautiful Land. I mean, not Beautiful Land. Revolution Now and Y'all All Come. Beautiful Land is actually not bad. So I listened to this 3 times. I didn't get bored with it. A lot of it is really fun. There are some terrific performances, particularly in the vocals with Molly Tuttle's guest work there. And the standout track to me is her song, Last American Waltz. So 3.5 stars feels not quite right, but more right than any other rating. So I'm going to go 3.5 stars for Union Made by the Old Crow Medicine Show, their theme album ringing in America's 250th birthday. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you heard this, let me know what you think. If you like the Old Crow Medicine Show, list some of your favorite tunes and favorite albums in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.